Welcome to SL Tonight Presents. I'm your host, Felix Lubezki. Tonight, for Men's Mental Health Month, we're not doing soft drama or emotional soap opera. We're keeping it raw and real. This is Ernest Hemingway's Soldier's Home, a short, gritty war story about a Marine who comes back from the trenches of World War I and finds out the hardest fight is trying to live in a world that no longer understands him. If you've ever felt numb, disconnected, or just done pretending, this one hits straight in the chest. Let's get into it. Soldier's Home by Ernest Hemingway, 1925. Krebs went to the war from a Methodist college in Kansas. There's a picture which shows him among his fraternity brothers, all of them wearing exactly the same height and style collar. He enlisted in the Marines in 1917 and did not return to the United States until the 2nd Division returned from the Rhine in the summer of 1919. There is a picture which shows him on the Rhine with 2 German girls and another corporal. Krebs and the corporal look too big for their uniforms. German girls are not beautiful. The Rhine does not show in the picture. By the time Krebs returned to his hometown in Oklahoma, the greeting of heroes was over. He came back much too late. The men from the town who had been drafted had all been welcomed elaborately on their return. There had been a great deal of hysteria. Now the reaction had set in. People seemed to think it was rather ridiculous for Krebs to be getting back so late, years after the war was over. At first, Krebs, who had been at Belleau Wood, Soissons, the Champagne, Saint-Melaine, Mahil, and in the Argonne, did not want to talk about the war at all. Later, he felt the need to talk, but no one wanted to hear about it. His town had heard too many atrocity stories to be thrilled by actuality. Krebs found that to be listened to at all, he had to lie, and after he had done this twice, he too had a reaction against the war and against talking about it. A distaste for everything that had happened to him in the war set in because of the lies he had told. All of the times that he had been able to make him feel cool and clear inside himself when he thought of them. The times so long back when he had done the one thing, the only thing for a man to do, easily and naturally, when he might have done something else, now lost their cool, valuable quality, and then they were lost themselves. His lies were quite unimportant lies, and consisted in attributing to himself things other men had seen, done, or heard of, and stating as facts certain apocryphal incidents familiar to all soldiers. Even his lies were not sensational at the pool room. His acquaintances who had heard detailed accounts of German women found chained to machine guns in the Argonne forest, and who could not comprehend, or were barred by their patriotism from interest in any German machine gunners who were not chained, were not thrilled by his story. Krebs acquired the nausea in regard to experience that is the result of untruth or exaggeration. And when he occasionally met another man who had really been a soldier and they talked a few minutes in the dressing room at a dance, he fell into the easy pose of the old soldier among other soldiers, that he had been badly, sickeningly frightened all the time. In this way, he lost everything. During this time, it was late summer. He was sleeping late in bed, getting up to walk downtown to the library to get a book, eating lunch at home, reading on the front porch until he became bored, and then walking down to the town to spend the hottest hours of the day in the cool dark of the pool room. He loved to play pool. In the evening, he practiced on his clarinet, strolled downtown, read, and went to bed. He was still a hero to his 2 young sisters. His mother would have given him breakfast in bed if he had wanted it. She often came in when he was in bed and asked him to tell her about the war, but her attention always wandered. His father was non-committal. Before Krebs went away to the war, he had never been allowed to drive the family motor car. His father was in the real estate business and always wanted the car to be at his command when he required it to take clients out into the country to show them a piece of farm property. The car always stood outside the First National Bank building, where his father had an office on the 2nd floor. Now, after the war, It was still the same car. Nothing was changed in the town except that the young girls had grown up. But they lived in such a complicated world of already defined alliances and shifting feuds that Krebs did not feel the energy or the courage to break into. He liked to look at them, though. There were so many good-looking young girls. Most of them had had their hair cut short. When he was away, only little girls wore their hair like that, or girls that were fat. They all wore sweaters and shirt waists with round Dutch collars. It was a pattern. He liked to look at them from the front porch as they walked on the other side of the street. He liked to watch them walking under the shade of the trees. He liked the round Dutch collars above their sweaters. He liked their silk stockings and flat shoes. He liked their bobbed hair and the way they walked. When he was in town, their appeal to him was not very strong. He did not like them when he saw them in Greek's ice cream parlor. He did not want them themselves, really. They were too complicated. There was something else. Vaguely, he wanted a girl, but he did not want to have to work to get her. He would have liked to have a girl, but he did not want to have to spend a long time getting her. He did not want to get into the intrigues and the politics. He did not want to have to do any courting. He did not want to tell any more lies. It wasn't worth it. He did not want any consequences. He did not want any consequences ever again. He wanted to live along without consequences. Besides, he did not really need a girl. The army had taught him that. It was all right to pose as though you had to have a girl. Nearly everybody did that. But it wasn't true. He did not need a girl. That was the funny thing. First, the fellow boasted how girls mean nothing to him, and that he never thought of them, that they could not touch him. Then a fellow boasted that he could not get along without girls, that he had to have them all the time, that he could not go to sleep without them. That was all a lie. It was all a lie both ways. You did not need a girl unless you thought about them. You learned that in the army. Then sooner or later you always got one. When you were really ripe for a girl, you always got one. You did not have to think about it. Sooner or later it would come. He had learned that in the army. Now, he would have liked a girl if she had come to him and not wanted to talk. Here at home, it was all too complicated. He knew he could never get through it all again. It was not worth the trouble. That was the thing about French girls and German girls. There was not all this talking. You couldn't talk much, and you didn't need to talk. It was simple, and you were friends. He thought about France, and then he began to think about Germany. On the whole, he had liked Germany better. He did not want to leave Germany. He did not want to come home. Still, he had to come home. He sat on the front porch. He liked the girls that were walking along the other side of the street. He liked the look of them much better than the French girls or the German girls. But the world they were in was not the world he was in. He would like to have one of them, but it was not worth it. They were such a nice pattern. He liked the pattern. It was exciting, but he would not go through all the talking. He did not want one badly enough. He liked to look at them all, though. It was not worth it. Not now, when things were getting good again. He sat there on the porch reading a book on the war. It was a history, and he was reading all about all the engagements he had been in. It was the most interesting reading he had ever done. He wished there were more maps. He looked forward with a good feeling to reading all the really good histories when they would come out with a good detailed maps. Now, he was really learning about the war. He had been a good soldier. That made a difference. One morning after he'd been home about a month, his mother came into his bedroom and sat on the bed. She smoothed her apron. "I had a talk with your father last night, Harold," she said, "and he is willing for you to take the car out in the evening." "Yeah?" said Krebs, who was not fully awake. "Take the car out? Yeah?" "Yes, your father has felt for some time that you should be able to take the car out in the evenings whenever you wished, but we only talked it over last night." "I'll try and take the car out," Krebs said. During the morning they talked. His mother told him she was sure he was going to settle down and be a credit to the community. She said she and her father had been praying for him every night since he came home. "God has some work for everyone to do," his mother said. "There can be no idle hands in his kingdom." "I'm not in his kingdom," Krebs said. "We are all in his kingdom." Mother said. Krebs felt embarrassed and ill. I'm going to Kansas City, he said. His mother looked at him. Can you drive the car to the station? Krebs asked. Yes, his mother said. I can drive the car. She smoothed her apron again. Do you love your mother, Harold? She asked. No, Krebs said. His mother looked at him across the table. Her eyes were bright. I don't love anybody, Krebs said. His mother was crying now. I don't want to see anybody or do anything, Krebs said. I just want to be left alone. His mother went on crying. Krebs went upstairs to his room and lay on the bed. He could hear his mother crying downstairs. He wanted to tell her he was sorry, but he could not. He would go to Kansas City and get a job. He would go away from home. He would go to Kansas City and work in the office of some company, come home at night and read and go to bed. He would not have to talk or listen or lie. He would not have to do anything. He would just be. That was Soldier's Home by Ernest Hemingway. Men's Mental Health Month isn't about pretty words, it's about facing the gray, silence, and the things most people don't want to hear. If this story landed with you, drop a comment below. Talk about the stories that actually matter. Like the video, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Have a good Men's Mental Health Month. I'm Felix Lubezki, host for SL Tonight. This has been SL Tonight Presents. Stay strong, stay real. Till next time, good night.